Hello fellow guitar geeks. Now, a few of you have asked me how I make the backing tracks for my review videos, so I thought the easiest way to answer that is to make a video showing you exactly how I do it. I'm going to take you from idea to writing and recording that idea, fleshing it out with more instruments, mixing it, mastering it, and uploading it. And if you really want, you can download the backing track and jam along to your heart's content. However, before we get into the music, I want to thank today's sponsor, Sweetwater. Now, I've paired up with Sweetwater a few times before, and every time I do, I'm impressed by reading the reviews of their customer service. And one thing that particularly stands out with Sweetwater is for all guitars that are over $300, they'll take photos of the actual guitar that you'll be buying, so you can choose the actual guitar, not just get one from a pile. And there's the 55-point inspection where they check the instruments before they send them out to you. And of course, competitive pricing. So, thank you Sweetwater for sponsoring today's video. Let's get into it. Now, I've set up my artist, that's me, Andy Ferris, the Guitar Geek. I've set up my audio interface. If you don't know how to do that, then there are many videos out there explaining how to do it. I want to start making music as quickly as possible. So I'm going to go up to New, and I go to Record and Mix, just there. So not Master and Release, not yet. Let's go and we'll call it, the idea that I have is in A minor. So we're going to call it A minor, Moody, Heaven. Right. Backing track, better put that in there. Okay, so this is our blank project, our blank canvas as it were. And I guess the first thing to talk about is where does the inspiration come from for a track? Because you probably shouldn't sit down and just start playing. You should probably have some idea before you hit record or before you open your DAW. And I had an idea the other night whilst listening to Tenacious D and came up with this. Yeah, so this is a tribute to that tribute, and the way that I like to start is with drums, because then when I'm recording everything, I've got a nice thing, a nice click to go along with that isn't a click, so everything's going to be in time. Studio One comes with a bunch of loops, so if I go to loops up here, then we can go down to, what I found something earlier, rock, there it is, drums, acoustic drums, and there's this thing called Remember Drums, and Mix 3, we can preview it here. It's a nice simple drum loop. I'm going to drag that over to there, and that's our drums started. Right, and the first thing I want to do is zoom out and copy and paste a load of those drums. The first instrument I want to record to those drums is the acoustic guitar. So I go over here and I right click and I add tracks. It already says acoustic guitar, color, auto color, format mono because there's one mic recording this guitar. Preset, I'm going to give it a preset, and that is the basic acoustic. So that's going to load in things like reverb and compressor and EQ. And then input, I want input 5. There we go. Now, that's there. If I record enable, you can see my voice being picked up by the mic over there. Now, what I want to do also is mute the main monitor speakers and put on headphones, because if I record with monitor speakers with a microphone, the microphone's going to pick up the drums through the speakers. I've got that set up already, so it is now time to record some acoustic guitar. Right, now that was tough because I was really out of practice and I've had too much coffee. So let's look at what I've recorded. It has taken me 7 minutes to record just a few bars, and the final take that I got that I enjoyed was this last one here, and then I added something on the end, some kind of outro. Actually, one thing I forgot to say is that I turned on the metronome for that, and for me, a metronome with a good setting is extremely important. And within Studio One, you can go to metronome setup, and then this is how I have my metronome set up. So on the accent, on the down beat, that first beat, we've got crystal. And then on the beat, so on 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, that's the tambourine. And then on the one, and, the and is the metronome number 1. And that sounds, if I mute these tracks, the metronome sounds like this. It helps me to keep in time because the drums are great, but they're not defined enough for me to really nail that first beat. So now that I have a chord progression, what I need to do now is go in and chop it up into an arrangement. I normally go for 2 A sections, so let's say 2 verses to be simple, and then 2 B sections, so let's say 2 choruses. And then copy and paste AA, BB, AA, BB all the way through. I don't record the whole 10 minutes of track. That would be insane and a waste of my time and yours. So what I need to do now is find my best take and cut in those A and B sections, and then really importantly, color label them. I'll show you how to do that now. So here's my best take. I'm going to press that, and I'm going to get my little knife, zoom in. And in fact, what I'm going to do is right click and I'm going to normalize the audio there. So that brings it up to the main peak at 0 dB. Then put that back, and I'm going to not delete all of that. Let's zoom out again. I'm going to move that across in case there's something in there that I need later on. Then I'll move this back to the beginning and go back to the track. So my B section starts there. So let's press 3 and chop it. And then I'm going to color this some lurid yellow. There we go. And then we've got the B section here. I've got a little ending on there. And then a stop, which is really important for cutting this track, and then it goes back to the A section. There, so that E, I think it's an E7 at the end, is really useful for getting resolving back to the A minor. But I'm going to cut it. What I'll do is color this one. Let's give that one a reddy pink. So these are really clearly defined which sections they are, which is useful when recording later on. They're really contrasting. And this is where the final arrangement starts. So I have a definite A section and a definite B section and an outro. I just need to cut and paste and copy all that all the way across until I have about 10 minutes of music. Beautiful. And as always, let that last chord ring out as far as possible. I'm still keeping that there just in case I need it later. Right, now we have an arrangement. All I need to do now is go in and fill it with more instruments. And the first thing I fill in usually is a bass guitar. Let's go up to Instruments. I want to do bass. Bass finger pull full preset. There we go. So dragging that on like that will open up this, and then my MIDI controller. It's far too high. Doesn't sound, it sounds very MIDI at the moment, so I'm going to put that through an amp, and I can do that by pressing F3, which brings up my mixer, and then renaming this bass, and 𝗏𝗪, which is Studio One's guitar and bass rig stuff. Going up to the amp, I want an STV, and an STV cab. So that now is going through there, and I'm going to bring that mid-range in to drive it a little bit. Now, because I'm recording MIDI on this section, I don't need to wear headphones. I can just play it through the studio monitors. I'm going to be programming it with the MIDI keyboard. But before I do the bass, I want to show you something really cool with Studio One, and that is by selecting all these different regions and segments here, right-clicking, and then going to Detect Chords. And it's detecting the chords for the guitar. It has a little think, and then when I zoom in, it shows me the chords. Can you see those? A minor, G, F, and then there's E there. Fantastic. So in case I forget what I should be playing, I can follow that along. And if I were to send this to another person to work on and say, can you add some guitar or something to this track for me, they'd have the chords ready underneath that track. So for the sake of simplicity, I have recorded something and I've quantized it. So I played it in with the keyboard and some of the notes are not exactly where I wanted them to be. So quantizing is just lining it up with the grid and putting it in time. Okay, so I've got my sections again, and it's just a case of copying and pasting again. I'm just going to record the ending because to get the timing right. Great, so it's beautifully loose at the end, giving it a more realistic feel. So now I have the drums, the guitar and the bass. It's now time to flesh out the rest of the track so that whoever plays along with this backing track, be it me in a review video or be it you when you've downloaded it, that person needs to feel as if they're in a band, and bass and acoustic guitar and drums is not enough. So what I'm going to do is add 2 electric guitars, 1 pan left, 1 pan right, and then some little decorations, which we'll go through first. So guitar is going to be the 𝗦𝗨𝗥𝗪, because it's a Les Paul style guitar and it's a Led Zeppelin kind of track. I'm going to go directly DI with this and then use the Studio One plugins to make it sound like a guitar. So Ampere, there we go. And I'll play around with some sounds, tune the guitar. Tune the guitar, that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? So let's add a tuner. There we go, collapse that, and then put the tuner before the amp, open up the tuner. I'm going to come in probably here on the B section. Before I copy and paste this, I'm going to add a second guitar. First, I'm going to use a different guitar and have something played a little higher at the neck to complement that part. So I'm going to duplicate that track, and then I'm going to go to F3 to the mixer. I'm going to pan that to the left and pan that to the right. Then come out of the mixer. Nope. Then go back to the mixer. Open up Ampere. I want to get a different sound. I'm going to go bridge pickup again with this 𝗬𝗏𝗪𝗄𝗡 guitar, both humbuckers, and play something up. Let's hear what that sounds like. Great, and because that's a DI guitar, at any point I want to change that guitar sound, I can go in and do that. Right, avid saver, by the way. I'm always clicking save. I feel it needs something like a mellotron or an organ to really fill out that sound. Oh no, not to fill out the sound, but to make it sound more authentic. So I know that there's a mellotron on Led Zeppelin's 𝗏𝗪𝗪, and or at least I've heard someone play it on a mellotron. I'm going to put a mellotron in there and just do some basic chords to follow the chord progression. Now, as far as I know, there's no mellotron in Studio One, so I'm going out of Studio One for this. Instruments, mellotron. So if you have any external plugins, you can load those in Studio One as well, like any DAW. There it is, cool. And I know that there's a preset called 𝗏𝗪𝗪. That should be... I'm going to go a bit higher than that. Now, I'm not going to quantize any of that. I did play a wrong note, so I'm just going to go in and delete it. But quantizing it, everything would be too robotic. So by having it a little looser, makes it, again, sound more real. I might just get rid of this low note. Yeah, it doesn't need that third lower note. So by getting rid of it, it's going to clean up a lot of space. And I might even go in and do a second guitar doing that part and just have that on the right. That was pretty funky. Normalizing it. I feel it needs some tambourine. I wonder if we have any tambourine loops. Okay, let's put that in. And even though the sample is at 110 beats per minute, Studio One has converted that to 85 beats per minute by slowing it down. So let's hear it without. So So it just helps that track move along a little bit. I think I'm pretty much finished with the chorus, the B section. I now need to flesh out the A section because in comparison, there's nothing going on. I need something with a fill. Let's take a risk. Has this got a fill? Damn! It's like it was made for it. Okay, that's brilliant. Now I have to do the rest with the other tracks. I'm going to put a deep piano in there. That's what this needs. Right, instruments. Piano. And I want to stay within Studio One. I don't want piano and strings. Just that single note. Right, let's bash that in there. I'm very happy with how that sounds. Masses of reverb and we are home and dry. Now let's add a bit more percussion. I think one of those sort of chimey things would be nice. I know there's one in Easy Drummer. Got it, right, it's that note there. That's it, that's all I want, but it's a bit too much for the intro of the track. I might put that a little bit later. I think the track is done. I think it's done. I don't want to add any more. Now's the time to mix. So the first thing I've done is I've split some tracks up. I've gone for section A drums and section B drums because I think the volumes of those are going to be vastly different. I've split the acoustic guitar part into section A and section B. So FX1, I'm going to put reverb. Because this way what I can do is I can put an EQ on that and cut all the bass EQ before it goes to the reverb. So now it's just the top end going through the reverb. That sounds a lot better. Also, it needs cleaning up a little bit, that there's a warble there. Okay, let's try that with the mix. So the main thing with mixing these tracks is having it full and inspiring and sounding professional, but not having it so full that you can't add another melody in there when you play your guitar along with it, which is harder than it actually seems, because I'm trying to mix a full track, but I need to remember to leave something out. Hello, Editing Andy here. It's the future, or the past, depending on when you watch this. At this point, I was mixing with tired ears and a tired brain, and I should have walked away, taken a break, or maybe a little sleep, and come back at a later point to mix with fresh ears and a fresh brain. However, I didn't realize that until an hour and a half into failing at mixing. I am so glad that I came back to this mix because I've gone back and listened to that electric guitar and it sounds awful. I've changed one and I've left the other. So the first one looks like this, or sounds like this, I should say. Here's the left electric guitar. Sounds a bit fuller, sounds a bit bigger. It's still not there, but listen to this. That's what I thought sounded good yesterday. So, different day, same t-shirt for continuity, but now I've told you, so it doesn't matter. Whoo! Right, I'm going to go in and fix that right electric guitar. And I've played around with Ampere quite a lot. And I found out that the VC30 is not my favorite amp. The setting that I like for this is the Marshall style on the low sensitivity. And what I'm going to do is on the left guitar, I've got it going to the MFB cab. So this one here, MFB. And then I'll try and put it through a different cab on the right. So we're using a different guitar, which means it's going to be a different tone. But I'm not going to use exactly the same settings, I think. And we'll play around and see what it sounds like. There. So that's getting closer to what I wanted. It's more reinforcement than it is actual bringing the guitars to the front of the mix, I think. It's too much playing the same music, so maybe I've gone wrong with the mellotron. Maybe it should have been an organ in the end and have it get really high. Not sure about that, organ rock. Maybe if I put this through a guitar amp, through the tremolo. Now we're getting closer, yes. That's grooving more now. There's that high frequency it was missing before. Now let's focus on that bass guitar for a minute, because I'm missing bass in that chorus. It's really MIDI, so I've either got to record that with a real bass or find a better solution, and I'd love to stay within Studio One. It's my playing that's made it sound more too MIDI. I'm clearly playing it with a keyboard. We are definitely closer than we were yesterday. Yesterday was an absolute shambles with regards to mixing. I've changed the piano from the one that was stock in Presonus Studio One to the Giant from Native Instruments, and I've changed that mellotron. Those are the biggest things that I've done here. Next thing to do is to monitor it on a different speaker, my Behringer Grotbox. I'm doing it again. I'm doing that thing where I'm adding stuff that doesn't need to be there. It's a backing track, and that's the thing that I'm trying to add is the thing that should be added by the player. Delete that track. Right. I'm going to listen to this one more time and then make a final decision. Otherwise, this is never going to get finished. And now the bass is sticking out in the chorus or the B section, so I'm going to select it all, go to velocity. So this is really intuitive, and set it to 63. And then going to humanize, giving it some of that reality back. A velocity range plus or minus, let's say 3%. See what that does. And then note start range 0. So we don't want the timing to change, just the velocity, just the strength of those notes. Maybe musically that's too much. There is too much going on with the bass. This is what's throwing me off. Right, simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Maybe the bass needs some fuzz on it. Okay, we're getting there. I mean, because this is new to me, I'm hearing things that I wouldn't hear normally, because I'm seeing things that I wouldn't see normally. And it's been really good for my musicianship to experiment with something that's brand new. It's inspiring, it's limiting, and then it's freeing. You know, it's all these new things, and that's great, but I'm going back into my old habits. So the bass I now love. I think the bass, there's a slight melody in the A section, that boom boom boom, that boom boom. That now works. So now that I've done that, I'm now happy with the sound, with the tube screamer on the chorus or the B section bass. I just need to get rid of all this, and away we go. Now the acoustic seems too much in your face, so I need to do some reverb trick with that. I just noticed there's quite a lot of headphone drum bleed in that last section. I'm going to call it a feature. I like it. We're calling it a feature. I think I'm done. The mix sounds to me okay. Now I'm going to master it in Studio One, and I've not done that before here, so this is going to be exciting, or a challenge, or terrible. Hopefully one of those. So now I need to set these markers to the end of the track and the beginning of the track, because I'm ready to export a mix down. And I do that by going to Song and Export Mix Down. 𝗬𝗦𝗪𝗬𝗪𝗪 Mix 1, and then between the loop, between the song starts, yeah, there we go. So it's 10 minutes 18 seconds. Click OK. And now it's mixing down 3 times faster than real time, or 3.6 times faster than real time. Okay, so I'm closing that session, that track, and I'm going back here to a new project, and now I want to master and release. So A minor moody master. Sample rate, I want to stay at 48 kilohertz, and then here we go. Now, this is fairly new to me. Drag in the mix that we've just been working on. So I'm not a mastering engineer, but the purpose mainly of a master is to get that volume up and to make it sound level and nice across as many different speaker systems as possible. So that's nice. It's around -9, -6 dB, and I'm going to insert some stuff to get that up. I just put a preset on there called Fat Master, and I quite like it. But let's change it to fatten things up, or I don't know. I've never done it. Let's just play around with some clarity. That acoustic guitar is super loud. I wonder if it's too loud. I don't like what I've just done. I don't know what I've just done. I don't like what I've just done. Smackdown! You know something? I'm going to go back to the mix, and I'm going to bring that... I'm saving that session, firstly. I'm going to bring that acoustic guitar down. It is too loud. I'm going to try and make it a little bit wider, and also reduce the energy in that sort of 200 to 500 hertz area. There's too much going on there. That's where we want our guitar to sit when... oh, it went all Italian then. Let's go for Imager. Makes it sound wider, bigger, and just more fun, like more enjoyable to listen to. But there is that energy there. Where's that Pro EQ there? There. So it's actually boosting around, well, boosting the low end, I guess. But let's put another EQ and get some of that out of there. And here's a little plugin that I like to use called 𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗏. It is absolutely fantastic, and I've got a full video coming on it soon. But basically what you do is you can send your mix to your phone. So we go for start the server, then I use my iPhone to get the QR code. Then I've got 𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗏, I click connect. There we go. So take 𝗏𝗏𝗪𝗏 off because we don't want that in the final mix. I just wanted to check it on my phone to see what it sounded like. So now that I think it sounds good as a track, I now need to make it a good backing track. And to make it a little better, I've got to make room for the guitar that's going to go in the middle. So the way to do that is to pull up this second EQ and pull down those frequencies there, or somewhere here. Now there's more room just here, a lot of room, and let's have a listen with and without. So now I'm time to release my track. So I go to Project and Digital Release. I'm going to go for 48 again because I'm working with video. And I'm going to go for a WAV and an MP3. However, I very rarely these days work in WAV files. But you never know. I've recorded it in high quality, so we'll keep it in high quality. And then 320 kilobits per second for the MP3. All right, here we go. While that's doing that, I will make some notes and come back to you in a second so we can talk about my experience with Studio One, because most of it was positive, but not all of it. Okay, so firstly, I'm very happy with the track that I've made. It is fun to play along with. It was fun to make. It was difficult to make because of my choices, because of my inadequacies of holding back as a musician. I wanted to just put more in there and more in there. And with today's technology and possibilities, I could have just added stuff until the cows came home, and that is a mistake. So the thing that I learned mainly from this was that I really have to reduce what I was doing, and because it's a backing track, let you fill in the rockstar stuff. With regards to using Studio One, I've come from Logic, and I use that for recording the vocals and the guitar playing in my review videos. And I like to separate my creative musical side from my YouTube guitar reviewing side. So I did the Logic stuff for the reviews, and then now I'm in Studio One doing the creative stuff. The built-in effects are good to great. I'm a big fan of quality reverbs, and as you saw in this video, I used mostly the in-the-box Studio One reverbs. I used the Studio One EQs, I used the Studio One compressors. I did add some extra stuff, and I found that some of the VSTs that were built into Studio One were not as good as, say, the native instrument ones that I had, or the IK Multimedia. But they're a lot more expensive. So, you know, you've got to factor in the fact that you could make a track just using Studio One, but I had other options, and I kind of went back into my old ways and using stuff that I know. Maybe in the future I'll find I don't need to go out of the Studio One environment, but I'll always have that one goal at the top of my list when making backing tracks, and that is to not let technology get in my way and to make music as quickly, as easy, and with as much fun as possible. And today, I think I did that. I hope you had fun watching this. I know that I enjoyed making this video because I didn't get straight to success. And through failing, I learned some stuff about myself and about the project. You've made it to the end of the video, which puts you firmly in the end of the video club. And to prove that you are a member of this prestigious elite, when you leave a comment telling me what you think of Studio One and the backing track, please also include the phrase, "Don't overplay, Andy," and that'll let me know that you've seen this part of the video and give me a good chuckle. So it's up to you now. If you want to download the backing track, there's a link in the video description. Go there and you can play along with it to your heart's content. Thanks for watching. I wish you a wonderful rest of the day with your guitar playing and music making. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.